already in day 2, but looks like picks and bans are going to be on the way in just a moment. And we'll see what the teams have in store. R7 on the blue side, V3 over on the red. And first things first, what is the first ban of this series? It is Galio.
Ooh, it's been very heavily banned against V3 towards the second half of the summer season. It's a really good pick for Ace, but like you were saying, Pastry, showcasing your own style, you would hope that what these teams have been doing in the regional leagues is developing their own way of playing the game. We harp on this constantly throughout all the broadcasts. How are teams playing their own game? Because when it comes to Worlds, you know so little about your opponent's tendencies that if you were trying to make a game plan around what you expect them to do, you're almost always going to be grasping at air. It's better for you to have been working on a way to play the game on a specific set of champions and just double down on it. Despite what teams or the meta might be thinking, you just have to play comfort, and that's when you'll deliver the best that you can be.
Yeah, I think especially in this stage of the tournament, single round robin is very unforgiving. You only get one chance against each of the teams, and of course you need to win as many games as possible to keep playing here at Worlds. Hecarim and Graves on the V3 side, as Lilia is going to unsurprisingly join the ban list, although on the blue side notably here for R7, but certainly not a pick you want to be giving away to Bugi, and there is Kalista as well, going to be banned away from Archer.
I think this opens up a first pick Ashe out of R7. It's the most contested pick between these two rosters and the one that looks the best for both Archer and Leza. It would be a really strong way to offer utility, and we've already talked about the dangers of that Ashe on red side when you can also counterpick the support, making it a really devastating mid 2v2. Let's see what R7 is thinking about, because the Lilia being removed was the other pick that I was looking at for being contested, and an Ashe doesn't really give away what you're trying to go for with your composition. She's quite versatile.
Absolutely, as the last ban is Lucian in phase 1 here for V3, another champion that's been very popular. Nidalee also extremely good and extremely quick through the jungle, so I like that first pick up there for Josedeodo.
Oh, talking about taking skill matchups. This is what Josedeodo wants, being able to just have his pick of the litter against whatever jungle matchup he has, and he knows he's not going to be up against the Graves, which tends to be one of the matchups that Nidalee is usually picked into. Might just end up going up against the Evelynn. If that's the case, you're going to see a lot of early game priority out of R7 to be able to invade and shut her down. Instead, it will be the Ashe and Renekton locked away, denying the Renekton-Nidalee synergy that could be so devastating in the top lane and making use of that Ashe bot lane. This could be a counter pick support from V3 on red side.
Yeah, nice safe picks though on the V3 side, so I like how they're kicking off the draft. Renekton's seen a lot of attention, often in the bans actually, so nice for Paz to be able to get his hands on that champion. 2 picks now though over on the R7 side, and Twitch is going to make his second appearance in as many days, Crumbs. In fact, I think R7 maybe going to nick the LCS playbook here for a second, because I remember that bot lane from yesterday.
Hey, Core JJ and Tactical looked really sick on that, and it was actually into the Ashe as well. So the Twitch's value against this pick is that if you don't see the Twitch, you can't arrow him. So it doesn't actually matter that the Ashe is looking for a pick. You're going to be the one that's trying to engage onto her. She's so immobile that if you can catch her with that arrow on cooldown, heck, even if you catch her with the arrow available and you can outplay, you're able to have so much kill pressure on her.
All right, well, nice and stable here for the final one. Ace is going to go ahead and get Zoe. And we'll see what ban number 4 for V3 is here as we kick off phase number 2. Clock ticking down.
Going to be a lot of value towards Mercury Treads, Cleanses, that thing of the sort. For Zoe and Ashe going to have a lot of long-range engagement. This looks to me like a Renekton that we were talking about earlier, Pastry. A weak side Renekton, just to be able to have some sort of pressure in the top lane, not necessarily looking to focus the lane, but rather survive and have a physical damage threat that you can then pair up with the rest of the team when you group up.
Look, let me tell you, Paz is no stranger to the weak side from the games from V3 I did observe in my prep. Constantly getting left out to dry, but often getting out or almost getting out of some pretty precarious situations. So certainly Bugi is the one that is calling for a lot of the action, and often that leaves Paz alone on his island. But Renekton's certainly a nice and stable champion, especially with Ornn and Shen now taken away. So some of these big ticket tanks going to be taken off the board away from R7, as Leona going to be banned away to not leave up the counter pick for Rakan, and they decide they don't need another support ban. They'll just chuck another ban over to Bugi and take out Elise.
Leona was good into the Rakan, and I still think that V3 will want to look for more physical damage. The more heavy AD you have, the better Zoe is going to look throughout this game, and you always want to set up your Zoe to succeed. The last thing you want to do is over-index on magic damage and make it so that your Zoe has to deal with a lot of targets buying magic resistance. It's going to be the lock-in Sett, which at this stage can be really effective as a flex support or potentially into the jungle.
Yep, I think perfectly good in either role, so I like this pickup a lot from V3. Potentially decent into Rakan as well. Often you get targets to face break once he dashes over to someone, if you can get in range, of course, is kind of the trick there. But this is something we've also seen quite a lot of. I saw this pop up in a lot of the different finals for the teams that are attending play-ins, but it's been quite popular here in the play-in stage so far. There is Tristana mid for Alone.
Okay, so I think Trist started to make rounds in team scrims because people were looking for an answer into Lucians. He's such a bully of a laner. At least Tristana eventually can become even more powerful than he is and survive the laning phase. But this puts R7 in a tricky position. I think a Sion could be a strong pick here. You really would like a top lane tank. That's going to be the case.
Yeah, there is Sion. Good call there from Crumbs. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like, you know, tank top. I'll use this very carefully, double Enchanter and then double Marksman, right? So I like what R7 have put together here. I'm expecting an aggressive jungler here for Bugi, known for his Evelyn. So that's certainly a selection here that he could make. But we haven't seen this one in a while, so I want to lock it in. But Elise, never a stranger to games at almost any level.
Wow.
Could be a menace here. This is one of your favorites, Crumbs, actually. It's Elise and Renekton.
Oh, I mean, it is a really deadly combination in the mid 2v2. This is the original Nidalee Renekton combination. It was decided that no top laner could survive against the level 3 dive of these two. Renekton just builds up a big minion wave, Elise passes to the top side, and suddenly you're dead. At least Sion could use his passive to survive and get some creeps afterwards, but the the Elise Zoe combination can also be really devastating if it catches you in the mid game. So a ton of pick potential out of V3 here, and a much harder to execute composition out of the side of R7. Usually you want long range CC that can be chained onto the Nidalee spears, but a lot of these skill shots, Sion ultimate, even Rakan, are going to have to rely on actually being hit versus what could have been very easy in things like a Nautilus ultimate.
Yep, of course, kind of the flip side is that, you know, two good marksmen both actually scale really well. And the ability to potentially enchant them. I'm sure one of these two between Nidalee and Rakan are going to go for Ardent Sensor, if not maybe both of them. We'll have to see exactly where the builds do fall down. Nidalee especially is very flexible. In fact, both those champions are quite flexible in how they can build, but you know, if we hit, 25-30 minutes, everything's feeling good, have to be pretty happy with the composition R7 have assembled. So I am expecting V3 to have to be a bit more of the aggressor. If I don't see a level 1 Crumbs, I'm honestly going to be shocked. V3 have so many good tools at level 1 to potentially find a pick, so we'll see what V3 are bringing to the table. As a reminder, this is their first game at Worlds 2020 here in the play-in stage, and 4 of their players have never attended at the World Championships. It is just the jungler Bugi that has his experience from the Flash Wolves, so we'll see what happens here. Can V3 pick up their first win and kick off their Worlds campaign on the right foot? Or are R7 going to right the ship and pick up their first win of Worlds themselves?
I mean, if you've got an Evelyn or an Elise and a Renekton, you always have the opportunity to play make on one part of the map. So I think that V3 have actually given themselves a pretty good opportunity to get ahead early this game. You know you're dealing with a Twitch late game. You never want to hit that. You never want to see the Twitch also get a Nidalee heal to get even faster on his ultimate. So I think that playing to the top side could be something that really catches Rainbow7 off guard here, because a lot of their laners are just going to hopefully farm and then be able to rotate over. They don't have the crowd control that, or the long range collapse that you would want when you're dealing with a lot of jungle invades.
Yeah, because the other thing is if V3 can, get things pushing, get things roaming, they have so much crowd control to potentially lock down some of these marksmen, especially earlier on when these champions are quite a bit squishier. Apart from the Sion, there's not really much tankiness. On the R7 side, there's plenty of healing, but I mean, we already mentioned Elise and Renekton, Zoe add CC to the pile. Ashe, of course, has some of the most CC of any mark, and even Sett can party on with the ulti and all the face breakers. So I believe there is a brief pause just to make sure the settings are correct for these players. So the game is slightly delayed to starting, but shouldn't be too much longer before we get our first game of day 2, Crumbs. It's going to be 7 games today here, 7 best of ones. We are unfortunately not covering all of them. I know you were very excited for the overnight marathon, but only here for the first 3.
Hey, you know, sometimes I'll queue up in the day, maybe play 12 games of League of Legends, who knows? So it's nothing new to be able to play or be involved in a ton of games of League of Legends. But I want to go back to the game we have on your screen right here, a point that you made on R7's composition. Not a lot of tanks with the exception of Sion, which means it is really difficult for you to face check if you fall behind in the vision department. You need to be ahead of the play in order to secure the zone and then move in. If you're dealing with Elise, Zoe, or an Ashe, or even that Sett that can hex stack flash over walls and engage onto you, you have nobody that can survive that initial engage. So R7 need to be really mindful about what V3 can do with this composition from the fog of war. When Sion is not grouped, they are in real danger.
Also curious to see the pace that these teams want to bring. I mean, I think we are expecting V3 to put their foot down somewhat early. They were extremely fast in the LJL, although they did slow down in their playoffs. So we'll see if they've got some of the pep back in their step, Crumbs. It's time for day 2 of play-ins.
Let's
the
do
2020
it.
World Championships. This is going to be a fun one. R7 back here for their second game, V3 here for their first. And teams are already spreading out. And unfortunately, Crumbs, I did not get the level 1 invade I asked for. Everyone's just chilling out around the river.
It's so nerve-wracking sometimes, especially if you're a team like R7 that already went down 1 game. It's not the end of the world if you looked at, say, the regionals where they came from, but in a group round robin where you only have 4 games, 1 loss can actually be the difference between you making it or not. So being wary, playing it safe, and knowing that you have tools that can eventually just win team fights flat out in a Twitch just makes teams more cautious.
All right, well, Paz is going to chill out in this brush for now. Let's see Alone and Ace doing battle here in the mid lane. Kind of curious to see how this one plays out. Tristana has lots of good things going for her up against Zoe. Can buff yourself out of bubbles. Shooting the minion waves is a good way to kind of control them and keep Zoe from pushing you in and then leaving her lane all the time. But Trist, of course, does need some items and some levels to get the scaling going, but Bugi 2 in the bottom lane could be where the spice is, especially since Bugi is actually pathing down here. As we do see Josedeodo's runes on screens. Conquer Nidalee, not something we always see.
Okay, that's going to be making a lot of use out of her auto attack. She wants to get in your face, but not necessarily dive in. There's a big threat of getting burst down if you dive in. So just using those autos, stacking the Conqueror, and making use of the red buff can be a really strong way of playing Nidalee as well. But it's just a little more mindful of what V3 can do. And on the flip side, you've got the Elise, who already hit level 3, but won't be going for an early gank just yet. The hawk shot from Ashe spots out where Nidalee is at. And interestingly enough, the jungle meta that ended up involving champions like Lily and Hecarim did start to move towards a lot of Raptor priority. These champions can clear it so quickly, and it gives you a ton of map control, being able to be so close to the mid lane when you go for these invades. But these 2 junglers are not those kinds of picks, so moving away from what seems to be what most teams are playing, and especially a pick like Elise, which is really just taking a big gamble. You fall behind on this pick, you are relegated to just being a cocoon bot, if you can even hit those.
Yeah, they actually took the same path, I believe, starting red and then full clearing blue side. Now they're both going to go ahead and do Raptors into Crab, it looks like. So Bugi is going to be on the top side of the map. It was a great double knock up there from Shadow here in the bot lane, but Raina is going to start punching back as Archer and Raina have been able to get the push on. But CS is nice and even here in the 2v2. So Cleanse and Flash still available. Exhaust, of course, for Shadow versus the Ignite for Raina. So R7's bottom lane really just wants to farm things out in peace, Crumbs, as Bugi is, as you expected, ready to dive this Sion top lane.
Right on cue with the minion wave being crashed. Let's see if they can pull this off. They should have enough damage. The Renekton's Fury just got used up, though. Ooh. I think they're going to pull out of it.
I'll say maybe getting a little ambitious with that Q channel, but does not get interrupted. Cocoon misses for Bugi, and it's a low committal dive, but a little bit of time wasted there for the Elise that is going to make Josedeodo push into the enemy jungle, but sees that indeed they did do the same path, so all those camps are clear. So they're going to go back instead and spend the money. So good setup there for Paz and Bugi, but nothing to really gain there on the top side as everyone just walks away.
Sion is a very scary champion, and in that case, you can look at it and say, well, could Renekton have stacked the minion wave a little bit better or traded a little harder against the Sion? But Sion has done a good job in recognizing that this was the play that was coming. He's fallen behind in CS, still has his biscuit available, so he just knows that if he doesn't die to the Elise Renekton combo, he would have done his job in the early game and then survive to hit those team fighting and then be able to outscale the Renekton in that utility department. So I think this is just a solid play out of R7's top laner, recognizing what his job is early game.
Yep, certainly going to be weak side Sion. As alone with the Vamp Sept already back here in mid lane. It's double Vamp Sept actually here, so some Blades of the Ruin King perhaps for these marksmen on the way. The cleanse has been picked up here by Zoe, but just going to push this wave back a little down in CS. Should be a little under a wave, assuming she can grab all those minions. But junglers have gone back. They've spent their initial gold, picked up their jungle enchant. Everyone's just relaxing here as R7 probably pretty happy with the pace of the game so far, but Raina going to get the face breaker down. Leza is going to get shielded. Now the exhaust will be forced out here as Raina's continuing to go. Bugi was there ready to as well, but no gank angle to be found. Raina eats a lot of return fire, but Sett just going to go ahead and be fine, I think.
Junglers are around though, so they're thinking that there was some action happening. The exhaust came onto the Ashe just because they were afraid that the Nidalee and the Elise were going to get involved into the mix. So now the junglers make sure that nothing goes down and that the vision just gets cleared. This will allow R7's bottom lane to push the minion wave back and get a nice little recall timing so that Archer and the Sett are not able to get the recall that they so preciously want without losing minions.
Ace does cancel that recall from Alone, but I think Alone's just going to hit another wave and be okay with it all. Is going to be a quick dragon though for R7 after the bot lane of V3 does reset. So it should be an easy take here. Will be no contest for V3. I do like the attempt from Bugi looking down to the bottom lane, but was well covered there by the Nidalee.
Oh boy. This dragon being Cloud tells us that it's Infernal or Ocean Soul Pacey. We're going to have a very dragon-focused game.
Well, that's good news for R7 because they got the first one pretty early. Paz still here in the top lane. In fact, neither top laner has gone back yet. I see 2 TPs, I see 2 Doran shields, and there was even a biscuit for Acce until just a moment ago, because guess who's back? It's Bugi once again. Looking here for Paz on the top side. Better get out. Oh, a good block. But here comes the Nidalee, and now going to turn things back around. Paz looking a little bit low, but the Fury Bar is charged. Josedeodo, he's going to get in there. The tower's going to take it, but the dominance is popped. Paz is massive, literally, as he's going to try and get for the first blood. It is Elise that is going to nab it, and now Arce is going to run him down. Paz looking a little bit worse for wear. Probably going to die here if they can try and escort the Renekton out. Paz has a little bit of health back here.
Oh no!
Now another TP is coming in, and where did V3 go? The spears aren't going to connect. They might just get a kill here, but it's Arce coming back from the dead indeed. Here's the Tristana going to try and scoop it up. They're going to get another kill though. Paz is going to get one at least. And now Bugi is going to fall. It is going to be Alone to be donated. Yet another bit of gold. But what a mess in the top lane.
Exactly, what a mess. Everybody knew the action was happening to the top side, but you just see how strong Renekton and Elise are able to take down the Sion twice. In the meantime, V3 is putting even more pressure into the bottom lane, being able to deny the Twitch and the Rakan, but 2 kills go over to the Tristana on the side of R7, so that actually is pretty good for them, because yeah, your Sion goes down, but it's just Sion. You did not pick this champion to get ahead. He's building resistances. He's going to be there to survive, to offer crowd control. Now that Tristana is going to be accelerated, she is a really scary threat that's going to be very dangerous to the range that V3 offers, which is not very high with the exception of Zoe.
Yeah, top side control is going to continue here though for V3. Bugi's going to get the Rift Herald off the back of that. Paz is still up 30 CS in this lane. With Blade the Ruin King also fast approaching. This is going to be quite a scary Renekton still for a while, but Alone, as you mentioned, is going to be accelerated. So we'll see which carry can out-carry here as we move through the early game. 1,000 gold-ish, not quite actually for V3, but the Rift Herald here for Bugi should be able to nab some turret plates. And Alciri wants to drop it if if recent history is any indication, Paz is going to continue having that snowball fed towards his lane.
Yeah, oftentimes you don't get to be greedy with the Rift Herald and think that you can get it for an entire push. A lot of the times it's better to just use it for the plate and make sure that the guys that are ahead can stay even further ahead. That way you are able to hit a better item spike, which then translates hopefully to a better team fighting later into the game. So let's see if Elise goes for it, because they can still return to the top side of the map. The Sion is a bit beefier, but Elise's percent HP, and there's no MR on this guy.
Yeah, certainly could be troublesome, as Ace did get accosted by Alone in mid lane, but Tristana going to start demolishing plates all by her lonesome. One of the other reasons Trist is good in general, she's very good at knocking down towers, and Alone is going to continue getting gold for himself here with that build order and those pretty early Berserker Greaves. So nice and strong in the 1v1 as Blue Buff number 2 going to go over to Nidalee. They actually stole the other one as well out of Bugi's jungle. So Josedeodo feeling good. He's actually up a pretty significant amount of CS. If he gets level 8, he'll be up in XP as well. He is indeed up a level right now.
That blue invade really hurts the Zoe more than anybody else, because already the cleanse value against Ashe and Zoe from Tristana was huge, but then when you pair Elise alongside it, how do you even gank this Tristana? She can do whatever she wants in this lane. You can anticipate that if R7 gets ahead, items like Quicksilver sashes or even the Mercurials comes through, and that makes it even harder for V3 to be able to find the picks that they so want. And so they're now at the mercy of Twitch and Tristana jumping them from the middle of nowhere, and those champions can get to a point where you just get 3-shot before you can even retaliate.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Crumbs, but it's going to be a dragon-focused game, and in order to get either the Infernal or the Ocean Soul spawned up, there is going to have to be this Cloud Drake taken care of. So 20 seconds until the dragon is spawned, you can tell, because there's 8 players in the river already. No TPs on either top laner, so it is going to be a 4v4 if there is a contest for it. Unless Paz wants to start walking down like 30 seconds ago. As Archer's going to clear this wave, as both teams still jostling for vision here around the objective.
It's so scary for V3 to enter this river. You have the Twitch that's going to be able to ambush anybody, and Tristana that is continually pressuring mid lane. Renekton has run from the top side, hoping to turn the tide in these dragon skirmishes for vision. V3's moving in to start it. I think they've earned the Sion is coming, but he's late.
Yeah, Paz with a nice roam again. Being able to move first matters a whole lot there, as V3 are going to equalize on the dragons, and it is Infernal Soul today, Crumbs. Nice and spicy to kick off day 2.
A Zoe with Infernal. Oh, your Sion!
Oh, Sion! Oh, going to get knocked up there is Ace. The stun is going to land though, as the arrow was used by Archer. No, it wasn't. I take it all back, but now Raina going to get chased up. But he's going to get out of there safely. Here comes Bugi, though, back down from rappel as R7 still trying to find a pick. Bugi not going to quite eat the tip of that Nidalee spear. And both teams are going to walk away injured, but not felled.
We had 3 different skirmishes on 3 different parts of that mid lane. The Sion, the Elise, and then the Sett around the banana brush. Luckily, no one ended up going down. That's the kind of fight where you realize we're too spread out, guys. Just leave, make sure that the next time we know what's happening, because you want to take the fights that you are confident in winning, not the ones that you're not even sure are happening.
Alone is continuing to smash plates here in the mid lane, as also a plate is picked up here in the bottom side. Rift Herald though top, as Paz is indeed going to be the beneficiary of this Herald. Already taking that 1 plate. Josedeodo is here to answer the wave, but there we go. That's the gold that Paz was after. And like you said, Crumbs, no need to get greedy and stick around the tower trying to knock it down. Just get the plates and get out.
Yes, and this is going to be a Blade of the Ruined King now for the Renekton. The plate gold should have been enough. Now he can stay in lane forever and continue to push in the top side while he waits for the TP to be back on. This Infernal stack is going to be really dangerous for all the teams, but it seems like we're going to have our first start to a fight in the bottom lane.
Oh, Leza just unleashing here. Shadow going to get the knock up as well. Twitch ulti not up though, as Raina going to dive back in, and Leza's eating too much damage on the trade. Just a couple seconds early there for the Twitch to try and engage, and now Twitch is in danger of getting dove. You can see Ace is booking it down to the bottom lane. Oh, what an arrow! Great cleanse though.
Some good damage there. Zoe will go back to the mid lane knowing that the Nidalee is already here, and that engage from R7, like you said, a few seconds of wait time would have given Twitch the ultimate, and then you would have just completely destroyed the Ashe. We've already seen from Tactical. It's actually such a great look that we were able to have this team take the bottom lane that we saw from Team Liquid, because we know exactly what to expect. We've seen this matchup before.
Yeah, it's nice when some homework's done for us. Alone, we're going to face check the Elise, and pretty scary with the echoes already completed, but Alone says I'm pretty scary too. Ace still going to try and make it happen, but Bugi just going to get obliterated. Sett a little too late, but always able to stop the show, as that is going to be a double kill there for V3. Now Archer going to chase down Shadow, but he bounces back in towards Leza. Ace looking for the bubble, does not unleash it, probably didn't have it on cooldown. So a 2-for-1 trade there as V3 snagged the double.
That was Elise picking a fight against the most fed member on R7, one with a cleanse on top of it all. And so not making the most out of that cocoon into this skirmish. So Tristana, yes, she goes down, but let's see how this all happened, because she doesn't have vision of this at all. And the cleanse is a bit late, but she already does so much damage. Just a few autos and the ultimate is enough to take down the Elise, and they at least get a Sett ultimate for it. So that does present an opportunity for the bottom lane of R7 to now pick on the Ashe. No Sett ultimate available does allow the Rakan and Twitch to ambush the Ashe, and suddenly her support can no longer peel for you.
Bugi is going to spot Acce potentially roaming down here, but just trying to get some vision here as the second Herald is up and available. Blue buff though going to continue to go over to Nidalee, again with two marksmen, with a marksman mid I should say. Tristana doesn't really need it, so it is nice for Nidalee to be able to continue to collect that buff for the majority, if not all of the game. But V3 also know that the second Rift Herald is up. They know that because they got the first one. And V3 going to go ahead and pull everyone here nice and quickly. And with Tristana bottom lane, going to just have to be a trade here, Crumbs.
They're happy with this trade. This Tristana is going to demolish this turret. Her E does so much for taking these turrets down. So it's a fine trade on the side of R7. They get their carries even more gold. Tristana continues to get solo experience. And more than anything, Tristana had blown her cleanse in that last fight. Had they looked for a skirmish or kept the Tristana in the mid lane, someone like an Ashe could have been devastating to deal with, because an arrow to the face, you might be able to buffer that jump, but you're still stunned, and then the team can follow up on you. So making this move right now, I think, is a wise move out of R7.
Yeah, tower trade overall, and it is in fact Paz that picks up the bonus gold for taking down the first tower, but still a trade that R7 will be happy with. We'll see what V3 want to drop this second Herald, though. It's going to be mid, don't even need to ask the question. Bugi's just going to drop it down mid. We're going to have a bit of a party. Sett going to start doing sit-ups, and R7 going to have to be careful. There's an awful lot of poke coming their way. Shelly, get in there. Power's going to get low, but not out just yet. R7 maybe looking for the counter engage here now.
The Renekton is coming from the top side. We're fighting over the mid lane wave to be able to rotate into vision for the Dragon, but V3 have plenty of control wars. They have to use them with these poke champions, or else they were for nothing.
You see 5 ultis and 8 flashes, I think? 9. My eyes deceive me. It's only Josedeodo that doesn't have his. So this could be quite the fight here. As you mentioned, Crumbs, the Dragon focus game indeed with the Infernal Soul up and ready. Teams do want to be the first to claim their second Drake if they can, but mid lane also matters here with both towers being up, so going to be a big back and forth here as the teams are fighting around 2 very important objectives in the central part of the map.
It's so good that Sion has roamed. Look at how much he's able to be in the face of V3, and no one uses spells on him because it's just not worth it. He's so beefy. They need everybody there to focus him, or else the poke is not worth it on him. He'll now leave as the rest of the team funnels back out into the mid lane and into their own red side for vision. And it looks like the vision wars continue, but now Sion could potentially have an angle, just waiting for the Twitch to have this ambush cooldown up.
Yeah, as you said, Crumbs, when you don't have vision, it's so frustrating to play against V3's comp, and V3 know that they've cleared the vision out. They're starting to just continue to throw poke and try and hit anyone that isn't named Sion. Unfortunately, Ace comes up with only the Sion, but still a decent amount of poke, and V3 are going to start the objective here. There is a control ward in the back for R7 that sees this, but V3 are just going to force them to try and make the steal.
Hey, spear. Nope. No steal. They're fine. It's only the second Dragon. It can be very dangerous eventually, but it's better to not force a fight that you don't know you're going to win.
Oh, how did you hit the Twitch there? What a bubble angle there from Ace. Here comes the Sett charging in. Raina looking for the face breaker, but doesn't find it, and the Haymaker also on cooldown now, as the shield was not popped. they are going to look for the trade kill. Haven't grabbed it just yet, but the tower will fall. Drowsy indeed, and there's the kill. Shadow going to be dropped there by Ace. And now Alone going to get exhausted. Will cleanse out of there, but Archer is just laying waste as Ace finds another paddle star, this time to the backside of Alone.
That's a great fight out of V3. The arrow we knew was going to be huge. The Ashe is so important to allow more members to find fights, to be able to punish mispositions out of the enemy. That engage, R7 is so lucky, happened at the 19-minute mark, because a minute later, they would have lost the Baron, and a single fight could have just decided the entire outcome of the game.
All right, well, as it stands, almost 2,500 gold up for V3. They've got the first team to 2 Drakes. They've knocked down the mid tower as well. So we'll have a look at the Acce replay here. R7 really wanted this tower, and it looked a little dicey for V3.
Using the Sion for the engage. It's a great move then. And when everybody else is retreating in the same direction, you know the follow-up can be so sick. And the Zoe flash bubble from the wall was a pretty cool mechanical look out of Ace.
Like we said, Crumbs, when one Caesar hits, the rest are going to come in like a tidal wave. There are just so many crowd control options here for V3 that getting away for R7 could prove to be quite troublesome. So they do manage to chase down those few kills. They open up the center of the map, although it is just a trade for the mid-outer towers at the end of the day. 2 items now done for Archer, 2 items done now for Paz. Everything going in the right direction for V3's first game here at Worlds 2020.
Yeah, so far, it's a good look, and continuing the narrative that we had thought of potentially this team being a dark horse. We'd always like to see Japan at the top of their game in League of Legends. They are definitely exceptional players in a lot of other titles, and League of Legends has been one that has evaded them for quite some time. Seeing this team show up today, and as they play 2 games, could be the beginning of a very powerful Japan squad.
See if they can continue building up their gold lead here in the mid game. There's 2.5 minutes until that second Infernal Drake, I guess 4th overall Drake here. But of course, the important thing is that it would be V3's 3rd Drake if they can nab it, which would push us ever closer to the all-powerful Infernal Soul. But as we mentioned in Champs Select, R7's comp pretty good once the items start coming online for these AD carries. 2 is good, 3 is much better, and more than that is just kind of gravy in this kind of double marksman comp.
Yeah, the IE on Tristana is cool. You really want to see the Hurricane out of Twitch. That's a big spike. It's kind of the same as what the Hurricane spike was on Aphelios before, where you just get so much value out of your inherent abilities. The spray and pray with that just becomes insane, increasing your crit chance as well. When you compare it with the Infinity Edge, that triple item, that's really where Twitch becomes an absolute menace, because nobody on V3 is really going to be buying armor. So yeah, the Tristana can be really strong right now, but you always know where she's coming from. Being able to ambush a fight once the initial CC has been committed on another member of R7 is the window that Twitch is looking for to be able to unleash his entire ultimate.
Well, minute 15 now is R7 going to be first to try and set up some vision here, but with V3 all backing off, I imagine it's going to be everyone get some control wards, and we going to want to move out onto the map and set up. Like we mentioned, like Zoe's already so frustrating on her own when you can't see into an objective. Elise on top of that, plus Ashe, plus Sett with a Hex Flash, and Renekton with the flash coming back off cooldown as well. Very tough for R7 to face check the river if they don't have that vision. So it's going to be a big battle here as Raina already starting the sweeping out of the wards. Paz also doing the same. And V3's timing pretty nice here. 40 seconds out of the Dragon. Can get that vision down nice and early.
Good timing and a lot of control wards in the inventory. Love to see it out of both teams. You've got plenty to make sure that they know where the enemy is coming from. Sion is grouped already. He knows he needs to be involved in here. And Twitch is coming from base with the Hurricane. So this is a fight that R7, being 3,000 gold behind, can still win. They just need to find the carries dealing damage. Here we go.
Ooh, in there for Acce, trying to get the ulti happening, but Raina is going to eat the charm instead from Rakan. Shadow, though, getting a little bit low on the return fire, but that's going to be a dead Sett. No, not yet. Into zombies he goes, and now Paz diving in the backline. Look at the lockdown. Leza does grab him, and now Acce going to dive into the back of the fight, but he's just going to get face broken and punched out as he flashes over the wall out of relative safety. But Ace is still looking to chase, trying to get the bubbles through the terrain. And V3 1 kill, and that's all they'll need, as they should be able to nab the Infernal Dragon off that.
V3 were so happy to see that R7 was willing to engage onto the Sett out of all champions. He is the support. Yeah, he looks scary, but he is not a carry. They were so happy to take that fight, and the Renekton, who was coming in from the bottom lane, went unnoticed. The Twitch did have a good angle to open up if Renekton wasn't there, but he was, and that was what turned things around, because they got both summoners out of him as well.
It's getting a bit spicy, but it was a fake flash after all. Does force Shadow to jump over the wall. No sums for Leza either, as he does respawn. But R7 worried about this potential Baron. They are going to start it. This is a very aggressive counterplay. But Bugi already here sweeping wards out. I think you have to get off now.
Oh, yeah. That is not necessary right now. Yes, it can look dire that you're down those 3 dragons, but even if you lose Infernal, your Twitch can still win you games. So R7 do not need to do this right now. If they want to pressure this objective, they should get a little bit better vision and make sure that they know what the call is, whether it is to turn and take a fight or to try to burst it down. I don't think you have to go for the 50-50 though, so I would like to see them attempt to turn a fight, and that's where you would want the Rakan to be able to find a flank angle.
Well, again, we kind of mentioned the enchanters in air quotes, especially for Nidalee, and the marksmen they are trying to empower. 2 items for both those marksmen now, but again, really want to be at that 3-item mark to feel extra good about where your build is. They do have the 6 Shadow, very good at empowering Twitch. We saw that yesterday, of course, with Tactical and Core JJ when they showed off this combo yesterday. And a pretty late Rod of Ages for Josedeodo is interesting to me. 2 stacks only now. It's going to take a long time to charge that one up. I understand wanting to be a little bit tankier, given that you do want something that kind of resembles a frontliner, although you'll, of course, never be Sion. But I'm curious if, you know, Sensor or even a Chalice or Things and Holy Grail is going to come through for Nidalee, because I think at the end of the day, you're not going to carry this game. You are trying to empower the marksman to do that job for you.
I think he might be the one person that doesn't believe that right now, Pastry. You're totally right, though. The Nidalee is not going to be carrying this game. A Grail would have been phenomenal here. You get the MR against both Zoe and Elise, but a fight is happening again onto the Sett, though.
Ult for Sion. Raina is the target of all the ire of R7. Pops the Haymaker, jumps out of there, and Archer's letting it rip. Arrow going to hit Shadow. There's Bugi going in. The Cocoon's going to land. Shadow going to try and dance out of there, but they are just going to get straight on top as Raina getting there with a face breaker past the back line once again. And R7 are going to get torn to shreds by V3. That is 4 kills already, as only the jungler is left alive to watch.
You can only speculate what the calls are for V3. The second that the engage goes on to Sett, they are just saying, take this fight. We cannot lose it at this point. The Renekton is flanking. They eliminate the carries, and this looks like a done deal, Pastry. They have been winning fight back-to-back, getting objectives non-stop, and this Renekton that was the initial focus of the game, which we saw from the Elise pick, has turned to be exactly what V3 needed.
Jose, that looks very dangerous, but Paz going to keep tabs on the jungler, ensures that the Baron does indeed go over to V3, and Paz might even have enough time to finish off this tier 2 mid. Is going to think better of it now that Shadow's here. Nope, I take it all back. He's got the Baron Cannon to back him up, and 2 teammates right behind him. Leza, though, going to try and unleash onto Ace, but does not pull the trigger. V3 staying out on the map a little longer than I maybe expected, but they do get a bit of extra tower damage as a result, and now the reset's coming in. They're going to ride that gold lead towards this Infernal Soul that's coming up in a minute 30, but we'll watch how this all started, because like you said, they just keep going for this Sett.
It would have been Twitch that would be the follow-up alongside the Nidalee, but Tristana wasn't there, and now in this position, it is brutal. Look at the Renekton coming in from the minimap on the red side, so they just need to keep R7 interested here. The second that they see them retreating, it's so easy to follow up. Sett has no problem re-engaging onto this one, and it is all too easy. In picture-in-picture, though, we got to fight over this Dragon Zone. It's 1 minute, though, and V3 is just thinking about using the Baron for the waves, not this objective just yet.
I mean, you certainly have to be thinking about fighting for this if you are R7. Gold lead, though, 8,000 gold ahead for V3. And we're not even done with this Baron power play. 3 items now finished for Archer, 2 items completed for Zoe, a Morelli-Nomicon on top of it all. Now for Bugi, and oh, that's the one I was afraid of. Paz with the Death Dance now finished. It sometimes feels like you can kill Renekton before he can kill you when he only has 2 items. That certainly does not feel the case now. He's got an Elixir and a Death Dance now completed quite early on into this game. Paz looking to take over the team fights like he has been doing, as Ace is just making it so challenging for R7 to even get in the river for this vision. But that's a good bit of burst onto Bugi. Arrow, they're going to land onto Josedeodo, taking the jungler out of the game, makes it tricky. Raina going to be diving in there with a Sett, and Paz once again, it's just wreaking destruction in the backlines of R7. And the rest of V3, they don't care about the dragon. It's not up yet. The team, though, they're up to try and get kills, as Leza is not going to get bubbled. Still has the cleanse, but Ace is just keeping everybody out of the way. Paddle Star not quite on the mark there to take out the Twitch. I think it was camouflage, to be fair, and Acce buying time, I suppose. It is just so tough for R7 right now.
Pastry, you'd think we were in Florida with how many times this Renekton keeps surprising people coming out of nowhere. There's crocodiles everywhere in the face of these carries who just can't catch a break. They are just trying to position themselves for these fights, but like we said, there's nobody that can really check bushes. There's nobody that can tank these initial CCs. Where Sion goes, they just have to move around him. He's a slow walking tank. It is so simple for them to find the targets that are important, and Twitch and Tristana just never really got to play this game past the laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, still searching for that third item. You know, just so far behind in gold, like almost 10,000 gold behind R7. V3 did get the Infernal Soul, by the way. They were so busy chasing all those kills that they knew that they could get it eventually. They just fall back and get it as the Baron wears off. And this gold lead is insurmountable, it seems like, for R7, but they are going to keep on fighting. There's certainly scaling built in here, Crumbs. There are things to hold on to, but V3 have come out swinging as we hoped. Seems like they've picked up the pace from their regular season in the LJL, and they are ready to play here at Worlds 2020.
They're clean. They're playing quite well, and even at the Baron, where you saw the Renekton sticking around under Zoe, so they never greeted. They're not making moves that are uncharacteristic mistakes. They're not doing anything that is an unforced error. They're just playing by the book, going around the objectives, taking advantage of what their composition does, and when they see a fight that they can win, they're just going for it. So that kind of play has actually netted them a 9,000 goal lead, a soul, and putting them at just about checkmate.
Yeah, seems like you know, one or two more moves and the game's going to be sealed up from there. We'll see if R7 can foil them. Also, quietly, for all the explosiveness that Raina, Bugi, and Paz have had, Archer is having barn burner of a game here. 4-0-4 on the Ashe, has been on point with the arrows, following up nicely with the rest of V3. It's just been good all around for V3's first showing here at Worlds 2020, but R7 holding on to what is left of their base. They haven't lost their inhibitor towers just yet, but the Baron is back up in a minute 25. Paz is the split pusher from hell in the bottom lane here, and nobody wants to challenge this Renekton. In fact, nobody can challenge this Renekton.
You know, this is why Ashe, I thought, was such an important pick, because since Caitlyn got nerfed, the nerfs that Ashe got were minimal, and it also affects the jungle matchup a ton. So yeah, you might be thinking, yeah, I get the Nidalee, but now I get whatever jungle I want with a hawk shot behind me. So if you were thinking about invading and being really cute about that, the Ashe not only holds it down in the bottom lane, but it makes my jungler track you even more effectively. And I gotta tell you, this Josedeodo might just be the most ambitious jungler I have ever seen in my life, Pastry. That is a 32-minute, one-page Magi's.
Yeah, he's got a Sheen as well, so he's going Lichbane. Doesn't want the Chalice, doesn't want maybe an Ardent Sensor. Just trying to match damage for damage here. Ace's book looking a little bit better right now, but I appreciate the optimism, most certainly, because, oh goodness, all right, cleanses out of there. Mark's gonna fire, Crumbs, it's all fine. Lund and Leza just gonna have to blow those summoners as the pick tools are starting to fly out from V3, but Archer's level 16, he's ready with another arrow in not too long.
Okay, so because there are GAs and stopwatches and Zhonya's now on the side of V3, it is a lot harder to win these fights, but now we actually are at that 3-item spike for the Twitch. So yeah, the gold lead is serious as well as the Dragons, but mispositioning from V3 can be punished with a team fight loss, but here's another pick.
Oh, it just hurts. Oh no, CC follow-up though. Bugi couldn't quite get there in time. Good ulti there as well from Rakan to try and disengage the situation, but Raina is going to find the face breaker, but he's got no teammates to follow up on. They ran out of CC somehow. I didn't think that was possible, but I don't think it matters. Archer just laying into Ashe. See you later, Sion, as Bugi is going to go ahead and collect the last hit.
They thought that Sett had overextended. Sett has been the one champion that has been the bane of R7. Every single time they see him, they think they can take a fight, but he has gotten the better of them consistently. They can now turn to the Baron. Here's an attempt that may be a pick, but this Renekton's thinking about turning.
Yeah. Paz just destroys that poor Twitch. Extremely ambitious play. But Paz just deletes Twitch off the Rift, and they're going to go ahead and take this Baron. They don't even need all 5 of them. Ace and Paz are keeping the rest of R7 busy. But you kind of alluded to it already, Crumbs. I think if this was a movie, the tagline would be, they thought they had caught Sett, and they were wrong, as Ace is certainly caught alone. That's going to be a nice clean kill there for the Zoe.
I was thinking the tagline could have been something like Crocodile Just. I was going to say Just, but it's like, okay, I guess a lot of animals do have that.
Crocodile Dundee 3, Crocodile's Revenge. Yes, Paz has certainly been on form so far. Baron picked up, and see you later base as V3 just going to rush it straight down mid here to try and look to end this game. Just the Sion left to defend alongside Shadow. Here's Rakan is desperately trying to keep the Nexus afloat. 2 more though respawn for R7, but V3 are not done with this push, Crumbs, as Josedeodo is going to make his way back in, but V3 are going to go for the throat. There's the dunk in again from the Sett. Josedeodo does take down the Sett, but Archer is just going to lay waste to the rest of the backline. No, Crumbs, it's about the KDA as Archer with the GA is going to try and get maximum value, but V3, their first game at Worlds, and it is a dub.
Dang, they look good. They looked really good here, Pastry. That was a clean win out of them. You can't pinpoint a single play that you said, ah, yes, this was a glaring error. In this group, I am really now looking forward to seeing V3 face off against PSG.
I like the pace, you know, super fun comp. Had, you know, some early game lean to it, let's say. And they bought like a good amount of aggression, like you said it. They're not just playing well with their composition and using the tools they have, but they're not overextending, right? They're still setting up well for objectives. They're still making sure to be there on time, to have the control wards, to get out the vision. They know what their comp wants to do. They set up well around the objectives. And just a pretty clean one at the end of it all. It just felt like there was a point where R7 knew they had to face check a river that they didn't want to. That's exactly what Elise, Renekton, Zoe want you to do. And they did it, and then the team fights went awry from there.